Hello, Soulkin, and welcome back to some Downbreaker Tarot today with your host Carmilla, per usual. And today, the reading that I will be bringing to you all is over personal power and control. So, what we'll be doing today is tapping into the energy of the Emperor. So, the Emperor, to me, in my resonance, is the full embodiment of all four of the court cards. So the Emperor is someone who has emotional stability and control with the King of Cups. They've mastered what it means to live wealthy and healthy in the material realm. They've got in tune with their connection to source and spirit and the order and chaos of our lives, and the really the futility of our lives too, as the King of Wands. And then also the bluntness, the clear of mind, the truth telling that comes with the King of Swords. So the Emperor is the full embodiment of all of those cards. Now, this is in my personal resonance. It could have a totally different manifestation for you. So we're going to be talking to the Emperor today about control, mainly because he is the one who does this very actively. Now, I say he, but obviously this is all encompassing. But he is the one who does that very actively. He has control over all aspects of his life, as in he has surrendered to the truth of what his life is. He's surrendered to the fact that he is king, he is emperor, he has duties, he has a calling, he has a power, he has the ability to move, he has the ability to influence and change and offer in different ways that people who are afraid of embodying their power in that way simply cannot do until they're willing to step into this role. So the Emperor is somebody who has willingly allowed their life to unfold and bring them into their full power, into this role, into this mastery. So the Emperor is like a mastery type energy to me as well. Someone who has mastered the art of trusting their own self, outside of constantly always trying to be right, which an emperor would try to do, right? To get the best for all people, but mastering what's the best for not only themselves or other people, but also what feels true, what feels guided, what feels right, what actually feels like it'll be the best decision for all involved, and for that, and that is also in line with their own morals and integrity. So it's all about being in line. So there's some emperors obviously who can rule kingdoms and be very wicked, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking only about the good, not the good, but the supple, the radiant energy, someone who is compassionate and willing to do what needs to be done to make sure that everyone involved gets to where they want to be, because that's pretty much all the people who are watching this. So we're just going to be asking some questions about personal power and stuff like that today. So I'm really excited, and also how to loosen up your grip on control too, because I know a lot of times the Emperor can speak on having too large of a grip on control, or being like a control freak or manipulator. So we'll be checking that out too. We do have a collective message today, and I did pull every card with a specific intention. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we pulled white light oracles today, and the white light oracles today will represent how this may manifest in your physical life as a actual blessing. Like, what is this carving for you in your life? What is this setting you up for? What will this look like when it comes to be? So for our collective message, we have the Dakini of infinite light. So I want to show you that card, which is really beautiful. It literally, basically, to me, means this understanding of touching on our own radiance, getting in tune with our own radiance, which makes absolute total sense. The infinite light, the infinite source that exists all within you and around you, in everything, in everyone. Obviously, a lot when it comes to talking about surrendering control and flow. This is a lot. This is where you're led to most of the time. So it's really funny. And then our chakra wisdom card that we have today for our collective message, basically what chakra is being worked on or needs to actually be trusted more, or needs more of your attention when it comes to this Emperor energy. So for our collective, we actually got bliss, which is really, really interesting because that's something that we resist super, super hardcore as a society, because we're always so fixated on hard work and reaching and stretching and getting to where we're wanting to be, that we forget the everyday bliss that is in everyday life. So I really, really like how this card came out. And go ahead and take a moment to pause that if you need, so that you can go ahead and read through it. All right. So the card that I pulled, the card that I pulled for the collective for our energy oracle, and the energy oracle today will represent how this is getting in your way, how this reliance on control, or this fear of control, is getting in your way when it comes to your actual everyday linear 3D life. So for the collective, we actually had patience in reverse, and that makes total sense to me. We are a society where the ADHD, is that what they call us? The generation where the society that just wants everything really, really fast. And I feel like two things are happening there. There's something beautiful about instantaneous manifestation that is it's something that we remember from another life for sure, but it's something that feels very limited in our human bodies, and we're trying, always striving to get to that level of instant gratification and what is it? What is the word? Just wanting things now, having that present bias. And like we're always told to be in the now, be in the now, be in the now. But sometimes it's really hard to do that when you're just really impatient. So I feel like this is basically just talking about impatience being having a huge role in our relationship to control. So it's very, very beautiful. And then our Work Your Light Oracle deck, we pulled these cards with the intention of bringing through some advice that you could apply to your everyday life, or even to highlight maybe what this process is doing in your life, or how it has set you up so far in your life. So the collective message we got was take a break. Life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill, which makes total absolute sense. It's because as humans, we're so fixated on controlling every aspect of our lives, and we're always so fixated on everything being right. Everything has to be right, and if it doesn't go right, we think that something happened, and we think we should go back in the past and change it, and if we change it, everything will be right. It's not the case. This is all about growing. This is all about seasoning our souls and becoming more of our souls, becoming more of who we truly are, and not something that we think as a human that we want to be. So this is really, really beautiful. And I say that not to devalue the human experience at all. I say that with utmost reverence to the human experience. And I think that the human experience can be something a lot more beautiful than what sometimes we can conceive. So honestly, take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. Makes total sense with this type of reading when you're talking about control, and how we manipulate our lives and other people's lives and things in order to maintain this false sense of control that we actually have. So I pulled the intuitive message. I got this deck out today for the reading. And this is basically just going to offer some guidance, or just a level of guidance that you need in your personal life. Remember, it is a general reading, so it will resonate how it resonates. But this is general guidance message that you can quickly digest and embody. So for our collective, we had the Ace of Swords with I need to say, I welcome new perspectives and beliefs. So again, makes total sense when it comes to talking about control for today. So as usual, we have 4 piles, and each pile has its own tarot deck today, which is really, really cool. So on our first pile, we actually have the Emperor from the Spellcaster's Tarot, which is a really cool card. It's definitely one of my favorites. And then for group 2, we have the Cat Tarot, the Emperor from the Cat Tarot. You might recognize this photo. And then pile number 3. Sorry, it's all spinning. Pile number 3, we have the Emperor from Rider Waithe, which is just an absolute classic. Beautiful, beautiful depiction of the Emperor. And then on pile 4, we have our Emperor from the Osho Zen Tarot with the Rebel. Also beautiful, beautiful depiction of the Emperor. So go ahead and do whatever witchy thing it is you need to do in order to get into the mood for your reading. And I, my friend, will see you there. Hello, hello, Group 1, for all of our friends who chose the Emperor from the Spellcaster's Tarot. This will be your reading today. So I'm going to reach over and grab Spellcasters so we can get into our reading. I'm going to set the Oracle cards aside and we'll check in with their messages a little bit later. So let's see, when it comes to the Emperor, actually the Emperor actually wants to be left out, which is interesting. Usually I will put them back into the pile and shuffle, but when I was putting him back in, he was like, no, leave me there. All right, cool. So let's see, let's check into what are your current dynamics when it comes to control in your life and surrender. And let's see what it is, like where are you lacking and what is it that you can actually gain to help move you through this sense of lack when it comes to control in your life. All right, so let's see. String pinking at me. What should Group 1 know about control in their life? Okay. So we have the 4 of Wands in reverse. The 4 of Pentacles. I honestly feel like anytime I use the Emperor of this deck, the 4 cards always shoot out. And then we have the Knight of Wands. I'm already getting what this message is about. Then we have the 9 of Pentacles that wants to be with the Knight of Wands. The 3 of Wands that wants to be with the 4 of Pentacles. Interesting. And then the 9 of Swords that wants to be with the 4 of Wands. Okay. And then bottom deck, let's see what we have for bottom deck here today. For bottom deck, we have the 3 of Swords in reverse. So there was this quote that I saw that my friend posted on Facebook not too long ago. And what this quote said was, let your heart break so that your spirit doesn't. And I feel this in this reading. When it comes to controlling your life, it seems like what you try to do is control and manipulate other people, especially when it comes to relationships. And I don't feel like you're consciously trying to. Now, it doesn't seem like you're like I was saying, it doesn't seem like you're trying to like consciously do this or like consciously trying to like manipulate or control people. Even if you are, it doesn't necessarily matter here. The lesson feels like it'll still be the same. There just seems like there's just a level of surrender that needs to be had when it comes to other people, because it seems like other people are so enraptured in your future, which makes sense for all of us, right? But it seems like very, very particular for you, Group 1, that you allow people to move on when it comes to your life. Like, allow people to be seasonal, allow yourself to be seasonal in other people's lives. Like, there's like this growing attachment that I see happening in Group 1 when it comes to like trying to control other people, almost trying to like control other people's narrative of how they see you. Almost like this hiding too of your authentic self, being more agreeable, being more likable, or like even saying that you like something that somebody else likes in order to feel like you're getting on their good side. Because what I see over here happening with the 9 of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands is you're not being your full self. There's something here that you're hiding about yourself because you want to fit in with a certain group of people, or you want to control the way that these people view you. And I'm seeing that especially through the symbolism of the woman holding the squirrel, and the squirrel has like this mask on or this hood. It seems like there's just like a part of her that she hides. Like, that's the message that I'm getting. And she's like looking at it almost like with sorrow or like sadness, like, oh, like I wish I could fully share you. Like, I wish I could take your mask off, but I can't. And it seems like there is like a force or like a power building up in you with the Knight of Wands that is making it very a lot harder for you to be a certain type of way. So this type of way that I see it hard for you being is this way of like wanting to control how other people view you, wanting to always be likable, wanting to always be invited because you are the neutral party. You want to be neutral. You want to be the one who doesn't make a lot of noise. You want to be the one that like everybody likes. Like you want to have like this basic flavor that can be consumed by everybody. Like you have a very, very strong fear of loss when it comes to losing friends, family, and things like that when it comes to actually stepping into your personal power. So with our message of personal power here, I honestly feel like your fear of stepping into your personal power is that when you step into your personal power, you will lose people who do not agree with who you are authentically, if that makes sense. So like if you show this piece to the world or to people in your immediate circle, it's the understanding that there are people who aren't going to like it. And I feel like intuitively you know that. Intuitively, I feel like you know that, and that is why you're holding back, because you know that if you fully embody who you truly are and what you truly know to be true for you, that means that there are people who will be leaving your life. But the beautiful thing is the people leaving your life will be replaced by people who can actually fully enjoy and taste you and embody what it means to actually have a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship, healthy romantic relationships, and things like that. Now, I'm not saying they have to break up or anything like that. I feel like this is going to be a natural progression. It will naturally fall off. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we have the Three of Swords and the Nine of Swords here. And typically when it comes to those type of like deep metamorphosis type energies, it's usually something where it happens. It's just part of the road. It's like it feels very fated. So I honestly feel like there's going to be some type of blessing or some type of opportunity or some type of moving away that's going to happen, that's going to create distance or separation between you and a certain friend group or a certain friend or a certain person or family member or something like that. And then that's going to give you the clarification and the space you need to fully understand what being in that environment actually meant to you and what being in that environment actually did to your energetic field. Because I feel like there's a lot of closings here, especially we have 2 9s. Now with the 2 9s out here, I honestly feel like there's a lot that you will lose in the sense that it has to go. And it feels painful to you because there's still a fear here of you not feeling as capable as you feel like you need to be in order to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish in your life. But honestly, I feel like there's just a lot of energies that are closing up shop within you, and they're going into this level of this space of a refinement so that they can come through as a healthier energy. And that's exactly what we see here. And this Three of Swords is like this painful energy, but right below it, this like bursting out of this very, very beautiful, radiant energy. And there's no mistake that the Hermit card is right under that. So it's like really, there's definitely a message here of divine timing. So I feel like if you are worried about this situation or you want to try to speed it up because you do have a Knight of Swords energy, I say don't try to speed it up. I feel like everything will feel right in your body and it feel right to you. I feel like this is definitely, like I say all the time, like a journey of like trusting your own self. But it does feel like there are just some energies, some people, places, and things around you that just no longer benefit you. But also this is the understanding, since it seems like to group 1, you're one that tries to be overly humble. So that you get this through your mind as well, because these spaces aren't serving you, this means that you're not serving these spaces either. You know what I'm saying? What you are doing in these spaces are also not serving the other people that are occupying these spaces. It doesn't matter who wants what, whose energy field is this, who's spiritual that, who's material this, who's material that. The baseline of this is, if you're not happy in a situation, no matter how capable you are, no matter how skilled you are, if you are bringing a energy to a space that is full of resistance and your energy field is literally repelling, pushing away from this space or this energy. The same thing that you feel is being done to you is the same thing that you're doing, group one. So if you're in a work situation and you hate your work situation and you're like, these people suck, they're manipulative and bad and blah 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 blah, which it could be 100% true. This also means that in a way you're betraying your own self, and you are also manipulating your own energy to fit into this field. And in order to, and while you're manipulating your own energy, not in order to, but while you're manipulating your own energy, that same energy is being given to these people that you're working with. So if, say, someone you don't like comes up to you and like in your brain you're already preparing for it, you're like, oh, this bitch, like, but you're gonna put the smile on your face and act, yeah, we're best friends, like that is also that manipulation. It's the same thing. So it's a mirrored experience. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So the same thing that you're doing, the same thing that they're doing, you're doing too, so that you can fit into this space. Now, I'm not saying this to try to incriminate you or make you feel bad or make you feel like a bad person. That's not what I'm doing. The simple thing is that the two things need to happen when it comes to the way that you control. One, release this level of victimhood that you have, because it is true that there are some people who are oppressive. There are literal institutions or literal, sometimes, not even sometimes, but our government, the way that it's designed, is very oppressive. But there's also this extra step that needs to be taken that says, I can take my power back from this oppression and I can work through this. Now, it's not your responsibility as the one who is oppressed to take down or deconstruct the oppressive system. That's not your job. But what your job is to do is to work through the internalized oppression and isms and things that are inside your body, so that the energy that you're offering and the words and what you're offering through your own vessel is true to you, and it's not true to this oppressive system. You're not perpetuating what this system has tried to funnel down your throat and tried to funnel through your body, and has tried to condition you to the way in which the system has tried to condition you to operate. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. This definitely has a lot about releasing conditioning, but this more so deals with releasing relationships all across the board, and knowing that because you surrender to the truth of you, which says, you know what, I don't want to be in this friendship anymore. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I don't want to be at this job anymore. When you surrender to that truth, it honestly feels like all will flow into you. But right now you're in this Nine of Swords, Three of Swords space of coming to what that truth is, gaining clarity on what that truth is. I honestly too feel like that's why we have the Four of Wands in reverse, because this is ripping up old foundation that, with the Four of Pentacles in reverse, that you've been holding on to for a very long time, because you thought this was who you were, you thought this was your dream, you thought this was something that needed to be protected, you thought that this was going to be what you wanted all along. But the Emperor energy is coming through and showing you, no, he's saying there's a higher altitude. So there's just something higher that you can reach, which we can actually see physically in the Knight of Wands card over here, with them literally riding this hawk. And I love how too, in the Three of Wands, we have this depiction of this woman releasing that bird as well. So there is a releasing energy that needs to happen here. And I feel like strongly this energy can only come from you. I honestly feel like you are guided. Your spiritual team fully trusts you to make the right decisions. And I feel like the only thing that's missing currently is for you to trust you, and for you to trust the universe to work everything out for you. No matter how it looks in the coming days, no matter how hard it may seem, I feel like you're energetically at a level to where you can put a little more trust in your own ability and a little more trust in the universe than what you currently offer. So really, this is about releasing old relationships to things. Could even be habits and beliefs that you have to release your relationship to, but this has to do with how you relate to something, how you relate to other people, relationships, something connecting you between something else that needs to be looked at differently. Because what happens is you have this mind, you go into this mindset of, oh, these people are doing this to me, this feels very, this feels like an attack on me, but you still keep yourself in the same spaces waiting for them to change, and that's not what is happening. What is happening is that you are changing within this space, growing within this space, and you're growing out of this space. And what used to fit you no longer fits you. So your spirit and your body is asking you to move into a much more abundant space, which we also see in the Nine of Pentacles, which I honestly feel like you are moving into a much more abundant space, a more abundant level of consciousness as well. But this also feels like releasing this self-doubt and releasing what is true, which means speaking your truth, speaking what is true. So I hope that tarot reading made sense with what I'm saying. So what we're going to do now is hop into the oracle cards and see what messages they have for you. So let's start with the chakra wisdom and see what chakras are supporting you or even being worked on and being healed during this process that you're currently undergoing. So we have the second chakra and the second chakra, sacral chakra, and we have the first chakra with the root chakra as well being healed with this energy through you, which makes a lot of sense to me. So, second chakra, sacral chakra, sexuality. I honor and respect my sexuality, and I allow the natural flow of my feelings. I acknowledge that my sexual thoughts and feelings will arise, and I release unnecessary guilt regarding sex. I am open to the positive sensual feelings coming to me from others. At the same time, I keep my sexual activities well directed and in balance. So this goes back to an energy that I definitely was feeling earlier when it comes to like relationships and stuff like that. This is definitely more so an energy about embracing your own power, personal power, your ability to choose, your ability to consent when it comes to sexuality. And I honestly feel like too, if there are any people here who relate to that in a deeper sense, I would love to know. But I honestly feel like it feels like that is there too, like releasing to what is true about you sexually, about your sexuality, who you are as a sexual human being, like your sexual nature or your sexual appetite as well. But I feel like this is more in line with what are you consenting to? Where are you giving consent? Consent feels very, very huge for this group because I feel like there's points or places in your life where you're showing a version of yourself that you feel people are more likely to consent to rather than having them consent to your full yes or the full you. So paired with that, we have the root chakra with courage and faith. So we have, I embrace courage, faith, and adaptability as they are needed for me to overcome my fear of change or of the future. I regularly remind myself to be positive and open to possibilities, knowing that I am the creator of my own destiny. I embrace the warrior within. I remind myself to be a warrior, not a worrier. I am not a victim. Yep. I feel the fear and I do it anyway. I'm ready and eager to move forward. That is so true in what we were talking about earlier with releasing that level of victimhood, of victim mentality. Because there's just a level of it that you carried that just needs to be released. So let's get into your energy oracle card and see how this is manifesting in your life as like a doorway. So when I say doorway, I do mean a block, but as in a block, it's just something that you're working through during this process that you're in so that you can fully embody the wisdom of what it is that you're going through. So let's flip that over and see what that is. We have healer of the ages. I love that. So what is happening here is this cracking open energy. This is allowing your heart to break so your spirit doesn't have to. This feels very, very beautiful. This is basically the energy that you're undergoing, is learning this self-activation that's not so reliant on other people's yes, on other people's no's, on other people's boundaries, on other people's needs. This is more about you coming through as your full self and having people bask in your glory. And those who cannot bask in that will fall away. They're just not meant for you. And there are people and places and jobs and ideas and things that you feel were meant for you, but you can feel them falling away, and you're not understanding fully why it's crumbling in that way or why this is happening. This is why it's happening, because you're healing. You're learning how to heal. You're learning this so that you can heal others. You're learning this so that you can learn how to heal your lineage. You're learning this so that you can offer wisdom to people who will find themselves in the same spots that you have found your own self. This is the embodiment of the wisdom of this lesson and what you're going through. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience that you're undergoing. It just takes a lot to get there, because it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of deep, hard, kind of dangerous experiences sometimes to touch on. So that's what we have there. That's how that is manifesting in your life as a doorway or a gateway. So let's dive into your Work Your Light oracles, and they will give us just some advice to work on what this control issue is, which with you, it seems like your control issue is of consent, of releasing, allowing relationships or your relation to things to fall away. So let's see what your advice is on that. We have yes, just say yes, just say yes to you. Just say yes to what it is that is true. Just say yes to what it is that is true. And then we also have awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. Makes absolute total sense with the energy of Healer of the Ages, with this this accumulation of radiance or tapping into your own inner radiance. We have this radiance coming through on multiple cards, including your energy oracle, the yes card, the Three of Swords, even the Nine of Swords with the big sun in the back. This is you just upgrading your life, advancing in life in a way that there are some people, some places, some things that simply can't follow you. So beautiful, beautiful energy. I love this Worry Group 1. And then our guidance card today with you need to say, or just a phrase or something to help you really embody and digest all of this energy. We have we have the Knight of Pentacles with, I take responsibility for my own basic needs, such as food, shelter, and my hygiene. This is all about taking care of yourself. This is about giving consent to yourself. This is about you taking care of what needs to be taken care of for your own stuff, and not being so reliant on other people's boundaries to do this. You're not so reliant on other people's yeses. You're not so reliant on other people's no, on other people's acceptance, on other people's rejection. You're not so reliant on that. And this is what this path is leading you to, not being so reliant on other people's yeses or their no's, their boundaries. Because really the truth is, this is for you to know for your own self. Nobody has to take part in this level of decision making that you're giving, you're releasing your power to. You're releasing your power to these other people and these habits and these ideas and these things because you think that they have the better say. And for your body and who you are, it is simply not true. So let's get into your last card, which will be your White Light Oracle card. And actually, let me grab the book because I'm sure there'll be some like passage in there that I want to read. And let's see what card you actually have. And this card will represent like a blessing, or how this energy will manifest itself in your life when it is allowed to touch your inner radiance, your authenticity, and when that clarity is brought into your physical awareness. So let's see what card that is. We have, the energy coming from that card hits like a freaking freight train. Aurora of Gamma. That is like full, like high priestess embodiment, self-trust. This is inner knowing. This is inner radiance. This is tapping into who you are. This is like the embodiment of like full on tasteful, like fragrance, goddess energy, full compassion and love for self. This is devotion to self. in a way that is elegant, in a way that is graceful, in a way that is giving to others. This is tapping into an energy and a level of overflow. This is opening your channel. This is tapping into overflow so that you have more than enough to give to yourself and others. This is regulating, this is managing, this is knowing who you are. This is your personal power. This is how it's going to manifest in your physical reality, and that is beautiful. So I do want to go to the book and read just a little out of this out of this passage. So let me read this for you. It is time to let go of what has been. You are swiftly outgrowing your past. Explore and commit to a spiritual practice that supports your personal transformation so that you can cross the threshold before you now. Embrace your freedom to be creative in your approach, rather than doggedly committing yourself to your previous ideas or plans. You have the spiritual intelligence necessary to evolve. Continue your healing journey with the trust that a positive outcome is imminent. Aurora is the Roman goddess of the dawn, the bringer of light, and the initiatrix of a new cycle or chapter in your life. She is the luminous dispeller of darkness, the flickering flame of hope in the heart that can burn into such a radiant holy fire that even the greatest challenges do not cause the soul to turn away in fear. Her presence in a reading signifies a fresh start and the overcoming of an old obstacle. Yes. yes. Absolutely. Yes, group one. This is you overcoming an old obstacle. And it's time for you to say yes to that. And it's just, this is an upgrade for you. And it sucks to feel that, I know, because you don't want that level of power. You don't want that sense of entitlement, but it's true. And you know it's true. Deep down inside of you, you know it's true. You just don't want to admit it. That is your thing. You're not giving that truth any type of consent because you don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit that it's true. You don't want to admit that you're going places that other people cannot, and there are going to be some people that can no longer reach you. You're afraid to admit that. You are. And it's okay to be afraid. But allow this process to do what it's doing in your life. You're exactly where you need to be. You're learning exactly what you need to learn. You're going through experiences that are enhancing you overall. This is you trusting. This is you manifesting. This is you integrating and upgrading. So yeah, let's do this, group one. This is a beautiful, beautiful reading. So I really, really hope that resonated. This is a lot. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of power. And this is a lot about like releasing the need to control other people because you want so badly their yes or their no, and you want to control their yes or their no. So releasing their yes, their yes and their no, and embodying your own is a lot of personal power to surrender to. So I completely understand why you would have fear here. I'm right with you. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed this reading, group one. It's a beautiful reading. And if it didn't resonate, that is okay. Take what did and the rest will fall away. You're not obligated to hold on to anything that is not yours. But with this being such a beautiful reading, I hope it did resonate. I hope this reading is for you. So I really, really hope that I see you next time, group one, and enjoy the rest of your day and allow these energies to bless you, my friend. Goodbye. Hello, group two. For all of you who are attracted to the Emperor from the Cat Tarot, this will be your reading for today. So the first Emperor did not want to go back in the deck, and I feel that same type of energy. This energy wants to be fully present. So I'm really, really excited about that. So what we're going to do is move these oracle cards aside and tap into the energy of control in your life, where you may be lacking control or feeling like you're lacking control and personal power. And let's see how we can tap you into the energy of embodying that control, or not even control, but that personal power. Because really, I feel guided to say this in group two, really control is an illusion, and we all just flow with life, and we all submit to what the truth is in our body, and we don't always like what the truth is. So let's shuffle out this energy and see what cards we get. There's some chargedness here. This is very, very charged. Oh, I knew the devil was going to come out. I felt it. All right, let's see what we got working for you. So we have the devil, I knew the devil was going to come out in this group because when I pulled the cards from the side to bring them over here, I cut them randomly and I saw the devil and I was like, oh, you're showing up, aren't you? And then we have death. So we have two majors already. Interesting energy. And then we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Oh boy, oh boy. We also have Judgment. We have a lot of energy here. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Five of Wands. Yeah, I see what's happening here. And then we also have the Ace of Swords. I mean, not the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands. So I'm actually going to hold the Ace of Wands as bottom deck energy because it feels like bottom deck energy. Now I'll show you what was under that. It was actually the Two of Swords. And there seems like this energy is here, but it feels like it's more so supported by the Ace of Wands. So, and that's probably why I said swords before I said wands. All right, so let's see. It seems like Okay. Okay, so where you give or where you feel like you're lacking control in your life is the places in which you feel like you must submit to your vices. So the places in your life where you feel like you must submit to some form of an addiction, some form of an urge, some form of something coming to you and you think that you have to do something with it. It seems like how this is taking control out of your life is you place so much power in what this thing is that's coming to you rather than actually place the power within your own self. Does that make sense? Like, it seems like when energy comes to you and it feels very grabby or it feels very dominant, you have this desire to submit to it because you feel as though you don't have anything better to offer others or to offer yourself or to offer this energy that's coming to you. So you allow it to come in and do what it will, do its will through you, as if you don't have any type of boundaries or any type of say so. So what I see here is someone who is very, very submissive. And they're submissive in a way that becomes resentful. Like, I'm sorry to say, but this feels like someone who possibly is in a abusive relationship or something like that. And I'm sorry to say something so loud, but it feels very loud. Like, this is someone who is in like a relationship that is emotionally manipulative, dealing with someone who is emotionally manipulative or physically abusive, or someone who likes to use guilt, gaslighting, and things like that in order to control you. And because you're not very much in tune, or you're afraid to be in tune with your own personal power, you submit to this person's will because you feel as though they know better than you, or they are better than you, or they have your best intention at heart, and it does not feel like they do. And this can speak on a lot of things. This could be an actual relationship, this could be a boss, this could be an energy or a frequency that's coming to you. This could be a lot of things. This could be a lot of situations. On the back end of that, this could be you. You could be the one, the manipulator, the controller, the one who is using fear in their sense or the illusion of their power and exemplifying it as something larger than what it is, and using it to control other people, if that makes sense. So this is similar to group one, but not fully, because the difference is with group one, they were like, oh, I have to watch this person's every step and be in tune with their boundaries, and they have to give me their yes, they have to give me their no, and then I'll move accordingly, and I will shift and do whatever they need to do in order for me to be always, on their good side. But this feels more like it doesn't, there's not necessarily a good side. And I also see this happening too. Ooh, yep, that's coming through. That's where the sword energy is coming from. I was like, there's a strong sword energy here. Where is it? The sword energy is coming through with this Two of Swords energy here, where this blindness, or turning an eye to, or trying to purposely create blind spots within yourself so that you can this is like ignoring the red flags, like trying to purposely coddle or create blind spots within yourself so that you feel like you don't have to look at the truth. It feels a little like delusional, or like a little like, oh, I don't have to look at this if I don't think about it, or something like that. And it also seems like for a lot of you, this doesn't even seem like it's having so much of a physical manifestation as in coming from another person. This feels more so like your own thoughts, like almost like a spiritual bypassing of, all I have to do is think positive, and if I think positive, that means nothing bad will ever happen to me. Like, that's kind of what it has, like this level of, there's a level of that here. With the Two of Swords, I feel so strongly that there's this energy of trying to turn a blind spot to, or trying to coddle or overcompensate for a situation within you that just seems like overly dramatic and theatrical. And it's over dramatic and theatrical, almost like a child inside, like throwing a tantrum, but you're trying to give it enough love and enough space. And I feel like there's a level of love and space that you can give it in order for it to be healthy. However, I do feel like there's a need for a stronger sense of boundary, because I feel like what this energy can do is drain you. So there is definitely some advice here for you, group 2. Definitely cleanse, do some sage clearing and stuff like that. Use incense or something to clear your space. I would definitely say, it's funny because someone just recommended this to me too. But definitely cleanse your space. Say some protective chanting or mantras or prayers and stuff like that, especially before you sleep and things like that, because it seems like there's like a tendency for you to submit to something that you think is higher than yourself, or submit to something that you think is better than yourself. So you're creating this inner hierarchy is what is happening. And when this inner hierarchy doesn't give you what you expected that you would get, and then you fight with it, and then there's resentment, and there's sadness, and there's all this stuff. Because it just seems like you're carrying a very, very, very hefty burden of just other people's ideas, other people's habits, other people's limitations. And they seem like they're not yours. Like, what you tell yourself you can do, you can do it. But because other people are too afraid to meet you on that level, besides you going to the level that you can go, you stay where you are so that you can still feel powerless, or submit to these people who pretend to have power over you. Does that make sense? So it's like you submit to these people who pretend to have power over you, even though you know intuitively in your body that you have power over you, and that you have power over the situation. Like, the situation is not going to kill you. You know that. The situation is not going to crumble you. The situation is not going to take away any of your skills. It's not going to take away your ability to overcome or surmount challenges. It's not going to affect you in the way that this person thinks it will. But because you have this fear of trusting your own power, your own personal power, you want this smallness. You want to submit to these other people, because you feel like if you submit, that means that there's a hierarchy, and that means that you are low on this hierarchy, and you found your place in this hierarchy. That means that you don't have to deal with what it means to like take responsibility for your own self, tap into your freedom of choice, and trust your own power. This is exactly what that feels like. I'm gonna take a sip of my smoothie. I just feel like there are people around you who are trying to like manipulate you into thinking that they are the overseer, that they know you better than you, that they know better than you what you need for you. And that's just simply not true. You know what you need better for you. And I feel like there are people in your life who are offering you good advice. There are people in your life who offer you advice and give you space to do what's true to you. But then I feel like there are people in your life who like give you ultimatum and say you need to do this or else. They create this either or else energy where it's like they manipulate you and they blame you, and it's like it's your fault, it's your fault, without actually looking at the role that they play in the unfoldment of this situation. And it seems like it's not necessarily conscious that they're doing this. It seems like more of like they're doing it consciously, but they're also not at the same level of self-awareness. They don't have the same level of self-awareness as you. Like you're very, very self-aware and they're not. And I feel like you're betraying a piece of you because you are self-aware and you do know what's happening and you do know what you're doing, and you're betraying yourself because you know better and you know that you can do better. That sounds very harsh to say, but that is where you're lacking the control, is you know better. And you don't want to admit that. You know better, but you're too afraid of admitting that you know better, because if you admit that you know better, I honestly feel like this is going to cause like this tumbling or like a tower moment where it's like you know better. And this is going to move you out of the situation that you felt safe within, because it put you in a box within a hierarchy, or like on a shelf, and people have to use the ladder or not to get past you or to get to you, or and like put you in like a safe space of like, oh, like, people can interact with me if they want, like, oh, but I'm not better than that person, like it's like this false sense of humility, or like this false modesty that's here, that's very present, where it's just like you're trying to act like, oh no, I don't know a dang thing. It's like almost like a damsel in distress type energy, where it's just like what situation did you get yourself into that you like think that you need like King Kong to come rescue you, and like so you can like create like this almost like this superhero in your mind, because you so badly like want to be saved. You want so badly for the responsibility of saving and of healing you to not be on you. You want it to be on something outside of you. You want it to be on the universe or spirit or this relationship or this job or this windfall or this desire or this money. You want so badly for it to be on something outside of you. And I see that with the judgment. You want it so badly for it to be something outside of you. And I do feel like there are plenty of energies outside of you helping you and supporting you. And I honestly feel like there is room for material support, spiritual, mental, emotional support. However, there's this need for that hierarchy to crumble, which I feel like will cause a tower moment for you, because it's going to take a lot of your identity away, a lot of ways in which you were identifying in your the way you were relating to other people. I feel like a lot of that is going to crumble, and there's a lot of people who are just like not going to like this new you, which is the same for the Emperor energy that we got in group 1, where it's like the way in which you relate to other people as you elevate is going to change, because you're going to be relating to them differently. Because you're just going to be operating differently. So this is just someone I see with a lot of power, who is definitely an alpha, but who's trying to not to who's allowing another alpha to take over because they don't want the responsibility of what it means to actually be an alpha, if that makes sense. Like there's something that they think is more powerful than them, so they submit to that. Now, this isn't saying spirit. Like, I feel like surrendering to spirit is just surrendering to your truth. Surrendering to spirit is surrendering to the flow of your life, which is your truth. And the truth of you is that you're much more powerful than this thing that is trying to manipulate you and gaslight you and shove you into a box that you don't fit. And you know that, but you feel so comfortable in this box because it means that you don't have to look at these pieces of you that you don't want to face. So it's like a double-edged sword here. So I love how we have the 2 of swords here. And I honestly feel like this Ace of Wands energy is like an offering to you. You have Athena offering you this Ace of Wands energy, offering you this wisdom of truth, this understanding like, hey, understand, know, and trust your power, because what you're dealing with is not as much bigger than you than what you think. It's actually just all a part of you, all aspects of you. This is you releasing the true you. But by you doing that, it's you trusting that you do have power and you're a powerful human being. And the way in which your life is, the direction that your life is taking, and the road that you're taking now is you know where you're going. You have the map. You know everything that you need to know. So it's so funny because I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. I wonder if this is her reading. I'll ask her. But it's like, you know where you're going. You're not small. You're not powerless. You're not at the whims of, you don't need to be on your hands and knees begging for mercy from some God or some type of salvation or something like that. Like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, but it is what you're doing, because you're resentful at your own power. You're resentful at trusting your own self, and you're resentful on the beauty. You're resentful at the beautiful game that is holding itself back here with the King of Pentacles. There's like a literal bag of gold that is just sitting there, and it's like it's like magically just dangling in the air, and it won't drop down to you, and you're just like, why? And it won't drop down to you because you think this is the healing. You think this material gain, you think this this new opportunity is the truth of you, or what the healing truly is. And it's like, no, what the healing truly is admitting your truth and what the truth is for you. And in this reading, what I'm saying is the truth for you is that you have a lot of power. You have a lot of trust. You have a lot of faith. You know who you are. You have the option to live your life very authentically because of your level of self-awareness. You know better. Now you are required by your soul and spirit to do better and to choose better and to choose out of your wisdom, choose more wisely. That is the funny thing that's happening here. And to choose more wisely literally means to resonate with your truth and to trust it. You know what the truth is for you. Nobody else knows what that is. Stop being so afraid of being wrong. Because this energy, this devil energy over here is just manipulating you. It is manipulating you. It literally, paired with the death card, it literally has you by the throat, and you're like this cat here that's just like, oh no. Like, it's just like, oh no. And like, I honestly feel like with the Ten of Wands, you're just carrying so much restriction and burden and limitation that shouldn't be placed on you, because your level of self-awareness is just not, it's just like, it doesn't feel like that's where you need to be. It feels like you are where you need to be in life to learn this lesson, but like this level of trying to deny this level of self-awareness that you have is really delusional. It's very, very delusional. And it's like you keep trying to like run back to these old trappings that you have for yourself, these old like trappings of low self-esteem, or maybe I'm not good enough, and this type of energy that's just not beneficial to you. And it's not beneficial to you anymore. It's not true. You're good enough. All of these things. I mean, that you are good enough. This. What you're capable of. Now, don't try to take that and be like, oh, no, that is what you said the first time. Like, no, that you're good enough. What you're worthy of. Your value. All these things. It's just the fact that you tell yourself the opposite so that you can stay in these smaller spaces that feel safer to you, because they don't challenge you and they don't challenge who you are authentically, because you don't want to be challenged. I definitely see that here, that there's a fear of being challenged. Like, if people challenge you, then you have to explain, and then you have to explain, you have to do this and do that. And it's just like, all that is just like, it just feels like rubbish. Like, the word my guys are using is rubbish. It just feels like stuff that like you're putting in your way purposely so that you won't have to look at the reality of what is truly you. So that is that is where you're lacking control. And how you gain the control is really, honestly, we recommend just sitting down and writing out what is true for you. What is true for you? What do you know without hesitation is true? What is it? Be honest. Be 100%, 1,000% honest. If your truth is, I want to have a lot of money and I don't care. I want to buy cars and clothes and I want to live my life like this. If that's your truth, then write it down. If your truth is, I don't want to be at this job anymore, write it down. If your truth is, this is the type of relationship I want and I will not settle for anything less, that's your truth. Be very, very honest with yourself without being judgmental and critical and like, oh, but I need to give this a chance and this and that. And no. That is not what's being asked from you right now. What's being asked from you is your absolute, unfiltered, unadulterated, pure truth. What is it that you're truly resonating with? I don't care how fantastical and woo-woo and metaphysical it sounds. If your truth is, I can talk to unicorns, that's your truth. Write it down. Honestly, I feel like this will be a very, very healing, healthy exercise for you to sit down with what your truth really is and start choosing in your life what your truth actually is. So before I keep rambling, let's get into your oracle cards so that we can wrap up this reading for you. So we'll start with your chakra wisdom. Let's see what chakras are being refined, healed, and that are helping to empower you during this season of reclaiming your truth, what is true for you, without all the societal filters and what you should do or what you shouldn't do, the either or energy. So the first chakra you have is compassion and forgiveness. Absolutely. Listen, yes, have some compassion for your own self. That's how you get to that truth, So let's read this. I have compassion for myself and for those around me. I let go of anger, resentments, and torments from the past, and I do not give my power away to those involved. Exactly, group 2. Forgiveness is a gift I give to myself. I forgive myself for things I feel I could have done differently in the past, and I remind myself that my response could not have been any more evolved than it was at the time. I'm compassionate to those in need, as this shows them that they are not alone. I practice this by listening, sharing, understanding, and being of service. Exactly. And in order for you to get to that place, you need to truly understand what is true for you. What is true for you? Definitely a lot of forgiveness involved. Definitely a lot of compassion involved, because when you forgive yourself and you're compassionate for your own self, you can move out of these little spaces that try to convince you that you're not worthy of these things. See what I'm saying? So your second chakra is selflessness, with the 7th chakra, crown chakra, with selflessness. I'm kind to all. I'm aware that everything I do or say affects others. I will help those who seek it, and I will seek out ways to be of service. I develop an attitude of looking for ways to help others instead of always waiting to be asked. Everything I do from a spiritual perspective, and I put my heart into it. So I love how you have put your heart into it and also have the 4th chakra, the heart chakra, here to reinforce that. Honestly, group 2, with your crown and your heart chakra being worked on, this is definitely about a level of self-awareness. This is about a level of connection to your inner heart, your higher authority, which is their heart of truth. What is true for you? Because when we say stuff like I am kind to all, you have to include you in that. And I do see you as someone who wants to give to others, you want to help others, but in order for you to get to that point, you have to step into that higher level of power, of trust, of self-regulation, self-control, and what that means for you. The freedom of what it means to make a choice, not only for you, but for others too. Because again, obviously, and you know this very, very well, what you do affects others. And you know this so well, almost to a fault. Okay? You know that very, very well. But what I see here happening for you is this selflessness also reflects back to you. It reflects back to you and how you treat your own self, and the space and the trust and the truth and the faith that you give to your own self. So I love how your heart chakra and your seventh chakra are being healed and refined during this process of trying to hide from what is true for you, so that you can reach this deeper sense of a love for you, and exposing these blind spots that you try to like place in certain areas so that you can try and hide from your own self, so that you can offer those pieces of you the compassion and forgiveness that they're seeking, you know? So it makes total sense. So let's get into your energy oracle card and let's see how this is manifesting in your life as a gateway. So what is this lesson? What is this, what you would consider a blockage? How is this gateway manifesting in your 3D life? So we have Goddess of the Moon. So with this card, this is definitely manifesting as a very what's the word here? Your intuition. Your intuition is guiding you. Your intuition is pointing you in a certain direction. And it's the simple fact that this direction is not what your human self or your ego feels it's capable of achieving. So I feel like this is too where selflessness is coming in, especially with this energy of the moon that she's holding. This definitely resonates as a crown chakra in my awareness currently. I feel like the selflessness is releasing this egoic self of you that's not healthy. So I'm a fan of the ego. I think the ego is great. I feel like the problem with the ego is that all of us are walking around with very unhealed, unhealthy egos. But what I see here happening is your ego is very, very afraid, and your ego is trying to talk you out of what you're actually preparing for and what you're preparing to do. That's what I see happening. So the selflessness comes in with releasing this level of control that the ego has over you, which makes total sense with the cards that we have out here as well. Which, if you tap into the ego and think that your ego is actually intuition and not just fear, you'll be more likely to believe it, which will make the ego more of a blind spot, making it harder to tell the difference between insecurity and intuition. So I feel like the lesson in this for you is learning the difference between insecurity and intuition. This is why you've been put in the situations that you've been put into, so that you can learn the difference and you can know the difference, and so that you can understand the language that's being used within your own body. This selflessness is absolutely coming in with this energy of releasing this egoic level of fear, where it's just like, no, we can't do that because logically and blah, 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 this and blah, 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 that and blah, 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 this. When you know, you have an inner knowing of something that is, you just have this level of self-awareness that tells you that something else is happening for you. So that is definitely coming through this reading. I love that. I love how I develop an attitude of looking for ways to help others instead of always waiting to be asked. I feel like that is something in here too, with this power dynamic of like submitting to what other people want you to do. Like, I'll just wait until they ask me. I'll just wait until, like, it's okay. I'll submit to their order. That is coming through as well, which we talked about a little bit earlier, but I just want to re-highlight that, of giving away your power to others because you want to wait until you're told to do something. So let's get into the rest of your oracle cards. The Work Your Light oracle cards will come through as some advice. So this advice for you is going to be how to release some of this egoic energy that is kind of like placing insecurity where there should be intuition. So what is your advice? We have Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. And I feel like that's literally just telling you what you are. And then we have Lemuria, Creating Heaven on Earth, It's Happening. Yep. So I feel like with this being of service and the beauty that is you, you know who you are. You know what it is that you want to do in this life. You know what your purpose is. And your purpose is this life journey, but also your purpose is this living in the full authenticity of you. And the best way to be of service in this world, on this planet, is being who you truly are inside. And I feel like you know who you are inside. That's why I have the Sisterhood of the Rose out here. The beauty, the devotion, the priestess, the mystic, the teacher. That's who you are. It doesn't even matter your gender. That's who you are inside. And that is what's asking for your devotion. That is what is asking for your power. Not these manipulative people or energies. This beautiful, beautiful teacher energy, this devotion, beauty in you is asking for your devotion, for your attention, for your love, for your selflessness, for your compassion, and for your forgiveness. That is because it seems like there are some parts of you that you just don't trust. You're just too afraid to trust, and that makes complete sense. So let's get into your guidance card. How can we be further guided into this energy and further guided into this level of trust of self and your own power? So we have the Ace of Wands again, with the universe is connecting something. Hold on to hope. I allow inspiration to find me. It is something I cannot chase. That is a beautiful, beautiful energy. I love how you have the Ace of Wands twice. This is what I'm saying. Like, you know who you are. You know what inspires you. You know what it is. It always finds you. It always does. It always lights you up. It does. It's just for you to trust you. And then your last card, this card is going to represent how this energy is manifesting or wanting to, or at the end of this journey, manifest into your physical reality. So let's see what card that is. The Sun of 417 Hertz. We have some potent white light oracle cards coming out today. Jesus. This is actually resonating at the same energy of the Sun. This group, but I honestly feel like this is why I said it, like, this is going to cause a tower moment for you, because it's going to challenge your identity and change how you view you. And it's funny because the other day I saw this picture that basically had the tower and the sun, and the caption was, people need to understand that this, meaning the tower, leads to this, meaning the sun. That's the energy that I feel so strongly for you. This level of devotion and this giving of self, giving of yourself truly, is what needs to be asked of you. But in order for you to reach that, you have to give to yourself so that you can give of yourself. And you have to understand what that is truly for you in your body, who you truly are as a person. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So it's just trusting the truth of you. Like, the sun just gives of itself, and it literally just powers an entire planet. And I feel like that is you tap into your radiance. You just do what you do. You just trust your truth. You trust who you are, and you just do what you do. You just do what you do. So I want to go into the book and just read just a little passage out of the book and see what other energy we can offer you. You are being healed from guilt and fear. Such emotions will no longer steal your personal power or dissuade you from confidence, happiness, and realizing your own worth. No matter how unlikely it may seem, you're going to emerge from a spiritual winter into light and life. The divinely ordained time for your liberation, healing, and emergence is much closer than you realize. Abundant blessings are stirring and shall soon manifest. Our sun is a self-luminous being. It does not reflect light or energy from other sources, but rather generates its own light. It is quite literally an enlightened being. The sun is our spiritual mentor, teaching us how to be spiritually self-reliant when we cannot find support or guidance externally and need to go it alone for a time. So let me read that again. The sun is our spiritual mentor, teaching us how to be spiritually self-reliant when we cannot find support or guidance externally and need to go it alone for a time. Such phases can be difficult, but they are temporary, and inner spiritual strength is built during such times. Sometimes we don't realize our own strength until circumstances force us to find out. Exactly. That's exactly what's happening for you, Group 2. That's exactly what we said here. This is you just tapping into the awareness that you have, which is you're literally the sun. You're super radiant. You're super self-aware. You already know this. And you're just reaching this higher level of what it means to be you. without submitting all that beautiful radiance and energy to fuel other people's radiance and to fuel other people's manipulation and destruction of you. That's what it is. So this is healing selflessness in you. This is healing the level of selflessness in you that says you need to devote this to these people who are hurting you, but rather devoting it to yourself so that you can find and reach and share with the world and give to the world in a way that feels more authentic to you. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy, group 2. I really, really hope you enjoyed it. So if this message did not resonate, that is okay. Take what did and the rest will fall away. You're not obligated to hold on to anything, absolutely anything that is not yours, my dear. So I really, really hope to see you next time, group 2. And I really hope these messages resonated with you and helped you in some way. So bye-bye, friend. Group 3. For all our friends who chose the Emperor from the writer Waithe Tarot, this will be your reading today about control and personal power. So we'll move your oracle cards aside. I usually will take the cards and put them back into the deck, but the Emperor today was like, do not put me back in that deck. I want to be out in this energy. He wants to oversee everything, which makes total sense. So let's get into tarot. We're going to use tarot to tap into the energy of where do you feel like you're actually lacking power, personal power, and control in your life. And let's see what we can do to actually heal that. And the oracle cards will tell us more about that. So let's get into this. Whoa. The Hierophant leapt out of that. I mean, all it took was one slap and the Hierophant was like, I am here. We have a lot of majors coming out too, so very, very interesting energy. We have the Hierophant. Ooh. We have the 3 of Pentacles also flying out. I feel like this flying out energy or like flying has something to do here with this. Like flying. Interesting. Let's see. Like soaring. You are soaring. Interesting. We have the Knight of Pentacles jumping out. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I want to get about 3 more cards just to clarify the Hierophant. To clarify. Ooh. There's so many cards. Okay. So what I'm going to do, the Empress wants to be out, but if she wants to be out, she will come out again. There were way too many cards in that. So let's see. If she wants to come out, she'll come back out. Let's see. Let's clarify the Hierophant. These cards, group 3, what are you doing? This energy feels very like soaring, like it's flying, but it feels like it's just energy all over the place. Okay. Let's bring it back down. Focus, group 3, because you're fine. Okay? Whatever you're going through right now, it's part of life. Ooh. Feel this energy here of group 3 going through something massive, like more of a like traumatic experience. So trying to receive and embody certain type of energies seems a little more difficult for you, group 3. It does feel that way. Because it's not just as simple as, oh, I should just think this thing and everything will go away. I'll just do this task or do this one thing and everything will be fine. This feels more encompassing than that. Like, it feels more like human. This feels more like life just plays so much more of a factor than it would to some, like middle age, woman that lives in her condo in San Francisco who does yoga every morning. This feels more I don't say this to scare you, but it feels more threatening or life-threatening to you. Like, it feels like there's more fear about this situation or about the way control is in your life than it does with anything else. Like, it feels less metaphysical and like, you should just think this thought or clear this chakra or go get Reiki or something like that. This feels more like, which none of the powers have been that really, but this feels more like something in your life needs your undivided attention. This could have something to do with your family. I feel like family's coming through. Work. This feels more about like how you use control. It's like how you use control to like manipulate yourself and like manipulate others. But it's more like it's more like a devil's advocate type situation too, which is similar to group 2, but yours like more so, like very more like defeatist. Like there's this energy of like you try to smite or like self-sabotage really a lot of energies that come to you. Excuse me. Shouldn't be drinking a smoothie at the same time. But yeah, this feels more like gathering yourself. Like you feel very like, seem like you're soaring at like a very high pace. But like this soaring can also be more like, can take you a little too far out of like what you're actually doing. And this doesn't feel bad. This feels like it's almost like a need, like something you need to do. Really. Kind of like to scrub off or like release or like escape from like the harsher pieces of reality. I feel like you're super, super divinely guided too. Like super, super divinely guided. Like super, super divinely protected because something else is just happening for you. But you feel very like scattered. And calling back all these pieces of you feels very hard. Because it just feels like there's a lot of just crap that gets in the way. And it's crap that you can't control. Like, honestly, it's just stuff that you wouldn't have chosen for yourself. You wouldn't have chosen for anybody else. It's just stuff that you can't do anything about. And this feels very, it scatters you. Like, not being able to do something about some of these situations in your life, it feels very scattering. Because it's like, I want this, I can harness this, I can do this. But my life is 10 times harder because of all of these other life situations that I can't control or I can't change or I can't do anything about them. Like these are not under my control. So it feels very scattering. And now with saying that, let's see if we can get the rest of the cards out here to explain a little bit. Ooh, the bottom deck wants to come out. Interesting. I wasn't expecting to see the Page of Cups. Whoa. Okay. The Knight of Cups wants to come out. Like, all these cards. Okay. We have Temperance in reverse here. Yeah, this just feels like everything is filled. And then the Page of Pentacles. That's funny. And then bottom deck we have the Ace of Swords. I still feel the Empress's energy here. And it could be because I have the Spellcaster's tarot box and the picture on the card is the Empress. So it probably, I love how she's like overseeing this all too. I just now peeped that. But her energy is still very, very present. And I feel like it's present because she's guiding you. Like, she's like helping you tap into like a creative flow. And not a creative flow as in like I'm making things, but like the flow of the void, creation, actual like womb creation type energy. When I said that, like the little pillars on the Hierophant up here like transformed into like an actual yoni, like I saw an actual like womb. It was really interesting. All right, group 3. I see multiple things happening here. Now, all these things could be happening for you or to you or not. But what I see here happening is you are a healer in your own right. Now, this is going to be expressed through you through whatever way. And what's happening is this level of alchemy that you're going through is a very painful one, because the way that you're learning your healing is by doing it for yourself. And it's a lot of self-actualizing through a lot of tragic or trauma or very, very difficult experiences. And experiences in life that you cannot change, that in the past you cannot alter, or things about your current life or your physical state that you cannot change per se or alter per se, but that are more so influencing and changing you. So what I see happening here is with the Three of Pentacles, for some reason, it's coming through as allowing the needs of society or trying to make accommodations for society. That is what is consuming you. You're giving your power away to what you think society needs from you. You're giving your power away to a society that doesn't support you or accommodate you, besides taking it upon yourself to create your own space. And there's a fear of creating your own space. And I feel like the reason why we have the two pages out here, the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles here, is because this is something that is very new to you, but it's also something that's very new to this reality. Now, I know it's very difficult to say that with what you're going through, but what you're creating is something that is very, very fresh. It is a level of wisdom and radiance in this life being offered to you through you that you can offer to others, that has not necessarily been seen before. And we see this happen throughout history repeatedly, over and over again, with people that we consider to be great, with people that we idolize. We do this because we so badly want to be like them. We want to change the world. We want to do something at the level in which they can do. Really, the difference is they did it and they trusted that they could do it. You are not trusting that you can do this because of the labels and what society has placed upon you. And I'm seeing that through the Hierophant as well. But what I'm more so seeing through the Hierophant is that this level of mastery is you, and what your guides and what spirit and what your life is doing is helping with the restoration, helping with that recovery of who you are, what is you, which is similar to other readings. And I'm sure all the readings will be similar. But this is taking your power away from a society, from a level of being or a way of being in this material plane that tells you that things have to operate like XYZ. And if they don't operate like XYZ, then they don't work. You put too much pressure on yourself by trying to meet the constant demands of our society, besides stepping into what's true for you and what it is that you know that you can do, in this life. You know what you can do in this life, but you constantly focus on what's hampering you, what's getting in the way, and you constantly focus on it because it's right there in your face and it feels as though nobody cares. So you're trying very, very hard to find the balance between, how do I care? How do I do this? How do I stand alone? How do I do this if nobody wants to stand with you? How do I change this? How can I go forth and do this if I don't have any support? And what I see here is you have a lot of support. You have a lot of divine support. You have a lot of support being sent to you, but it's hard for you to see it because there's just so much there's so much ragging on you. There's so much that is just very, very, very heavy to hold and to carry. And you don't want it to take as much time as it is taking. But what I see happening is really your guides really helping to restore this kingdom within you so that this kingdom may flourish without you. So that this kingdom may flourish without you. And when I say that, what I see is someone leaving a legacy behind that will last many, many days, many, many years, many, many centuries, something that will last. What you're building is something that will last. And what you're building is something that is different from what we currently have been offered or what is we're currently offering to each other. So this is very difficult for you to navigate this life in the body that you've been given, the mind that you've been given, the cards that you have been dealt. They seem very unfair. And you take the responsibility of perpetuating this unfairness and focusing so much on this unfairness because it just feels really unfair. And you see other people with opportunities and this and this and that and that and that, and they're not taking them, or not they're not doing in their life what you would do with it in your own. So there's this level of resentment, and there's this level of fear, and there's this level of sadness because you feel like if I could do what they do, then I would be done. But really what you're doing is creating a whole new way, a whole new outlook of what success can actually look like, of what radiance, of what abundance, of what beauty, of what someone living their most authentic life and naturally just being of service because they're being who they are. It's just you're building that in a higher level, in a higher sense of the way. I hope that makes sense. So where you're giving up control is you're giving up control by thinking that what society says is true, and that simply is not true. Now, you're not going to change what society already thinks and how other people already think. You can influence, you can inspire, but you cannot change. And I see you doing just that. I see you inspiring and influencing. And that's truly the best that you can do, is plant the seed and walk away. It does not need your micromanaging. However, what I see happening here for you is very humbling. Like, I want to bow to you because what you're doing is creating an entire new perspective and a way of living that has not been seen before. And I don't mean that necessarily in a woo-woo metaphysical way, but it's a way in which it will be hard for other people to trust. Like, it's the way in which you're being asked to live is a way in which it will be hard for other people to accept as their own reality. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of the way that they were raised and, the environments they grew up in and things like that. So it's hard for them to trust because they're having a hard time trusting their own self, and they're having the same amount of, difficulty tapping into reality, the way that you are too. So I feel like you are someone who definitely you're probably soaring because you're trying to escape this reality or even this body, because you've experienced a lot of traumatic experiences. And I see that coming through some reason. I see that coming through the Three of Pentacles, like trying to work with other people, trying to harness, trying to create things, and stuff just not working out the way you want it to work out because people have their own opinions on what it should look like for you and how things should look or what things should be, and you have a completely different perspective, and people aren't like really supportive or supporting you in that way because they can't see it the same way that you see it. But what I see Temperance doing in your life is really, really balancing this energy out for you behind the scenes. That is honestly why I feel like we have Temperance here in reverse, because what Temperance is doing is there's this level of disharmony that Temperance is causing, so that you can see all the ways in which, so that there's the answer. With the Three of Pentacles and Temperance, what you're doing is seeing all the ways in which you actually hold in your body solutions to some of these problems that you see within society. You group 3, you actually have solutions. You have solutions outside of what society already thinks it has found the answer to. Oh, you have this problem. Let's just dose that. You have this way of thinking. Let's just smooth that over or dose it or get rid of it or something. You actually have solutions to a lot of the problems that you see in society, but because society thinks or wants to believe that it already has the answers, that negatively impacts you because you feel like the solutions that you have are not worthy or not worthy of being presented or offered, because you have fear that they're going to be rejected. That is the energy of when it comes to like control in your life. You are on a pathway to mastery. You are exactly, I know it is hard, it is a stretch to feel this energy, but you are exactly where you need to be, because what you are doing is you're existing within this level of disorganization and disharmony so that you can actually create the solutions that need to come to be. That's why the Empress is here with that creative flow energy, the void, because you're pulling solutions, literal solutions out of the ethers. You're pulling them from somewhere else. And again, we've seen people do this throughout history. So why would you think it's any different from you? You definitely have support. You have a lot of support. I want you to know that. But really, when it comes to your personal power, it's just trusting that you have actual solutions regardless of the BS that goes on within society. Because there's a lot of BS that goes on with society. We're all just playing our roles, helping with this collective evolution. But in order for us to reach those highest heights, we need people like you to step into your roles and do your part. Group 3. And that is the fact that you know that you have solutions to offer us all. You have solutions to help alleviate a lot of everyday problems. A lot of problems, and this is in your respective realm. I don't care what you're doing. If you're singing, you're dancing, you're creating, drawing, if you're in the medical field, a firefighter, it does not matter, but you have some form of a solution to something or some things that will help to alleviate a lot of the problems that we currently have in society. You have solutions. It's just you're afraid to get political and you're afraid to step on toes. You're afraid to tell people that, no, this does not work. This is wrong. You're afraid to step into that power and say, no, this is wrong. We have new ideas. We have a new perspective. We have a new way of looking at things. You're afraid to be honest with people in that way and say, no, you're wrong. And that is where you're giving up your power. And that's where you need to loosen your grip. You need to loosen your grip a little bit when it comes to how you want to, this is the same way. It's the same thing for everybody, but like the way people view you. Allow people to view you the way that they will, knowing that it is not a reflection of you, but rather an aspect of their own selves, an aspect of their own limitation. If you do something, you create a solution to something, and somebody tries to belittle it and they downgrade it, guess what? They're doing that same exact thing within their own self. If they come up with a solution in their own life, guess what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to try to treat it like it's nothing, downgrade it, belittle it. You know what I'm saying? The same projection that they're projecting onto you is the same thing that they're doing to their own self. So don't take it so personally, because there's something in your life that is due you. And it's all about really having the courage, to step up and say, you know what, I'm right. This is having the courage to step up and say, I'm right. And that this actually is wrong. And we're going to change this because it's time for this thing to receive its due healing. It's time for us to look at this in a new way, through a new lens, through a new perspective. It's just time for it. It's time. And with it being its time, that means it's your time too. So really releasing the way in which society tries to bind you, in the way in which you try to bind yourself to society because you want people to look at you in a certain way. You know, you want people to look at you. You want everybody to love you. You don't want to be judged. You're afraid to be judged. You're afraid to be talked bad about and all these different things. And it's like, really, it's hard to just say let them. But there's a level of this that is present for you where it's just like, you're just going to have to let that be what it is. Because there's just something bigger that's being offered through you, to you, and through you, that is being offered to the world, to society, a solution. There is a solution here. So let's get into your oracle cards and see how we can go about reclaiming this energy, bringing this energy into your life, and what chakras are being affected and all that good jazz. So let's see what chakras are being healed, being used mostly during this process for you. So we have solar plexus, the warrior. I embrace my inner strength, power, and resilience, and I allow myself to shine. I unfold my full potential as an empowered person with a true sense of who I am. I grow in consciousness as I overcome and transcend life's challenges. Yep. I need the warrior inside me for the journey ahead, and I am courageous in moving forward. There it is, group 3. There it is. Hard confirmation. I feel like the resistance and the stretching in my own body that's happening with that message too. So I know you're feeling it. In card 2, we have something in your life that is due you, group 3, abundance, the sacral chakra, second chakra. I am worthy and I deserve an abundance of anything that I require. I watch my thoughts to ensure that I am honoring and respecting myself. I honor myself by knowing that I am worthy to receive. I am open to receive now. I remind myself that it is a sign of strength to ask for help. Yes, that could be too what's going on with the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is weird to me. It's like this fear of asking for help, but also in the past you've asked for help and you weren't given the help that you needed and stuff like that. It feels very bitter. So it's very, very interesting. There's something in your life that's just due you. You have a solution and it's going to come through. Honestly. So this card, the energy oracle card, is just going to represent how this energy is actually acting as a gateway in your life. So even though it may seem like it's a blockage, it's actually a gateway. So let's see what that gateway actually is. We have Magician and the Mirror, and we have that in reverse, but I have a strong sense of turning it upright, mainly so that you can see it. And I love how this is literally just temperance. But there's a feeling of this gateway being in reverse. And I feel like it's in reverse because it's challenging you to surrender to a higher level of support, surrender to a higher level of guidance in your life that you simply can't only just harness for you. Now, I know earlier in the reading I said this isn't like only like metaphysical and it feels very life-based. And this does. But what you're facing is something very, very life-based, being soothed or being fulfilled by something that isn't that is more magical, that is more powerful than what you've seen, more miraculous. That's the word. It's more like miraculous. It's more like, and we've seen again throughout history, we've seen these miracles over and over and over again. However, it seems like it's manifesting itself in your life in a way that seems and feels very raw, very, very different. And I honestly feel like this card is in reverse because everything in your life right now is just an aspect or a mirror just showing you so that you can really tap into this energy of who you are, so that you can know yourself as a warrior, so that you can step into this abundance consciousness. I grow in consciousness, yes, because you're leaving lack consciousness and going into abundance consciousness, because you know that the answers and the solutions are there for you and they're there for us all, and they can be offered through you. That is exactly what this is. So let us get into the advice that they have for you through the work your life. So this is the advice they have for you to actually tap into this journey, this energy that's working in your life, this pulling the answers from the ethers. What is the advice for actually embodying this as a human being? So that is I knew it. I knew this card was going to come out. I knew it. The Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. Yep. You're shifting consciousness. You're pulling this beautiful energy from the ethers. And that's like so Empress energy too. I love it. There's nothing else to be said about this. Rule 3, you're just doing something extremely new and extremely different. And you've been training for this for a long time. So let's get into your guidance energy to see how you can better digest all of this. And then our White Light Oracle, which will be your last card, will show us how this is going to manifest in your life as an actual physical, material, obtainable blessing. So let's see what your guidance is. The King of Cups. I need to say, I do not rely on others to make me happy. That is an added bonus of connection. My happiness is my responsibility. Very, very, very true. That goes back to that energy that I was saying earlier of society, relying on society for your answers, or relying on society to try and accommodate you. But really the truth is you have a solution. And what is happening is you're going to tear down a lot of barriers within society that tells you that you don't have space here. You're going to create space where they try to tell you that there is no space for you. That is what is happening because you're not reliant on that. Now, it is not necessarily your responsibility to tear down or whatever the current institution, but it is your responsibility to allow the truth of what is to live through you, your own authentic nature and the truth of who you are as a person. It is your responsibility to allow that to live and manifest through you. And that is exactly what's happening. Because I feel like the word happy could be replaced by joy, by abundance, it just can be replaced by this abundant consciousness. I do not rely on others I don't rely on others to lead me to abundance consciousness, I don't rely on that. Everything is just as part of my journey as I am theirs. And this is just a journey. So that is the energy that we're picking up here. And in your last card, the White Light Oracle, we have the Theta of Venus. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that card out here. This is definitely just you returning to what you were, the purpose of your incarnation. This is you actually getting to, in life, the actual purpose of your incarnation, just living. Because the purpose of your incarnation is just as much as living as it is something that you were sent here to do. And I feel like that is the energy for you, is that this something that you were sent here to do, a way in which you were sent here to transform society in a larger way. And that is what is happening for you, and that is what is coming through this Theta Venus card. This is just you actually actualizing and realizing and gaining more clarity on what that mission is for you. So let me go into the book and read a little excerpt from it just for more clarification. But this is you just actually getting in touch with your wisdom and your mission. Attune yourself to higher consciousness by choosing to access the purest frequencies of love within. Acknowledge lower frequencies such as judgment, fear, doubt, or shame when they arise within or around you, but do not give them a foothold in your heart. You are ready for higher understanding, to see things in a new and more positive light. Allow your inner knowing to guide you on a unique, beautiful, and highly spiritual life path. There it is. You're being attuned to your higher spiritual life path. The life path is what it is. Venus is our morning and evening star, the stellar goddess and guardian of transitional awareness and higher consciousness of the heart. She is the way shore of light and fifth dimensional reality, also known as unity consciousness. Her spiritual guardianship of humanity will be complete when our mass consciousness is based on love, light, and divine feminine wisdom. When you connect with Venusian energy, it is an opportunity for increased love, magnetism, and spiritual charisma, a chance to shine your light and manifest your soul purpose with increased grace, synchronicity, and sacred artistry. Her appearance in a reading signifies a time of creative and spiritual awakening. It is a reminder of the power of the heart and our ability to rise again after a time of karmic heaviness. Boom. That's all I gotta say. That's it. That's it, group 3. You are being aligned with your highest spiritual life path, and what you're doing, and where you can really take back your personal power is own that and trust that you're being led to a higher level of consciousness, and release your reliance upon society, or not society as in, oh, I need to go live off grid in the woods, but release your reliance upon their standards and what they say is possible for you, or what they say is wrong or right. That's how you take back control of your life, group 3. It's beautiful. So let's wrap this up and go ahead and say, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did not, that is okay. All right. Take what did resonate, okay? And the rest will absolutely fall away. You're not obligated to hold on to anything that is not yours. So with that being said, I still hope you enjoyed the reading, and I hope to see you in the next one, my friend. Bye-bye. Hello, group 4, for all of our friends who chose the Rebel or the Emperor from the Osho Zen Tarot deck. This will be a reading today. So the Emperors have been asking to remain out, invisible, so that they can oversee everything. And it's so funny, I picked up on group 3, this Empress energy, and I was like, the Empress wants to come out. She's here. And on the Spellcaster's tarot box, I don't know if you can actually see it, but the Empress card is actually right on that box. So I wonder if her energy will come through here. I feel it in a way that I didn't feel in all the readings. So it's very interesting. Let's see what we got. So today we're going to be talking about control in your life and reclaiming your personal power. Where are you gripping on to control, and how are you using it, and what we can do to alleviate that, so that you can actually step into your full authenticity, your full power, full trust in self, as the Emperor does. So let's see what's going on with your energy. This card wants to come out. I don't know what card it is. So we have the Two of Cups with friendliness in reverse. Let's see. It doesn't feel quite right though. So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't. If it comes out again, we'll take it. But it doesn't feel quite right. So we have the source, which is the Ace of Wands in this reading. Ooh, the Five of Wands just showed itself with totality. Interesting. That card has been coming out a lot with this deck. And we have the Ace of Swords with consciousness coming out. Interesting. We have the Nine of Swords with sorrow. This is the second time that card has come out. The Nine of Swords. Interesting. Let's see what else we got. We have courage in reverse, which is strength. Actually wants to go over here with sorrow. Interesting. Their energies feel very, very attached, which makes a lot of sense. We have transformation, being death. Feels more aligned with the ace. Interesting. They're being very picky today. And then we have fighting, which is the Knight of Swords in reverse. All right, and then bottom deck we have the Dream with the Six of Cups. Okay. Group 4. This is so funny. So when it comes to control in your life, what you like to do is you have a dream. You have, just like, every other human being, you have stuff in this life that you want to achieve, that you want to do. And your fear of this coming true or even not coming true, like you're afraid of both, which is really interesting. But your fear of this coming true or not coming true is extremely, extremely heavy. You fear that excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm drinking a smoothie during this, so it catches me randomly. I'm sorry that you can't see all the cards, but anyway, your fear of this coming true means that to you, in your awareness, it means that life was fine all along, and all the times that you manipulated and you lied, or you went through something very traumatic, or you went through something very hard, all the things that you lost and you thought that you had to sacrifice in order to get to where you were going, you feel like it was all for nothing if you were still going to end up where you wanted to be in the first place. That's why you're afraid of it coming true, because it means that it was right all along. And with you knowing the truth and it being right all along, you're like, dang, all the stuff that I went through, I didn't even have to do any of that because it was going to happen regardless. So that's why you're afraid of it becoming true. Now, you fear it not coming true because you don't want to live in a world where dreams don't manifest. You don't want to live in a world where your dreams can't come true. You just don't want to live in a world where it doesn't matter how hard you work or how hard you go after something, that it will still fail, because it feels like this dream is something very, very special to you. And it doesn't have a lot to do with money and status and cars and clothes and stuff like that, even though it can. And that's completely fine. There's not judging that at all. Shoot, it does for a lot of us. Being comfortable in our life, being able to buy the things we want to buy, eat the things we want to eat, travel where we want to travel, wear the clothes we want to wear. That is true for every human being. However, the dream that lives in your heart is something more beautiful collectively. And it just seems like it's more beautiful personally. It's like you have this dream collectively that, like, everybody is in tune. It's unity consciousness. It's the light. It's the radiance. It's everybody's is in tune with their own self. And with them being in tune with their own self, they're in tune with source, with a higher level of consciousness. And this higher level of consciousness and this connection to source allows them to see that in every other thing and in every other being. Like, you have this deep desire in your heart to see, you don't want the earth to hurt anymore. You don't want people to hurt or suffer anymore. You want to eradicate any and all suffering that exists. Like, you don't want it to exist anymore. You don't want it to be not within your own self. You don't want it to exist within your own self, within your family, within your friends. You want everyone to just have everything that they need. It's funny. It's like you want to stop all the fighting that is happening currently in this level of consciousness. But what's happening, which is funny, which seems a little resonant with group 3, is that what's happening is on this journey that you're currently undergoing, or you're on. You're learning how to stop this fighting within your own self, so that you can model what it is like to be seen without this fighting, without this suffering, with this flow, with this connection to source. You're transforming what this looks like for you so that you can transform what this looks like for other beings. However, this is where control comes in. Because you so badly want to control the dream and how the dream manifests, like you want to micromanage it, you want it to happen at this place, at this time, under these circumstances, or you're like putting so much pressure on, like the fact that it needs to come now, like an urgency. This causes a lot of sorrow and a lot of fear and resistance inside of you, because you fear that because it's taken so long and because it hasn't happened yet, that it's just simply not happening. And when this happens and you tap into this level of sorrow, it completely puts you into a state of fear, and it strips you of the courage you need in order to fulfill this transformation, this thing that you're undergoing. And that's what I'm seeing here. So really, how you reclaim your personal power is holding the vision of your dream and trusting it, and trusting that when the universe and you say that you are going to be transformed, trust that you are transforming. Not that you're going to be transformed. Because when the universe says, I'm going to transform you, this is what's going to happen in your life. Trust that once you hear that it's already been happening. This has a lot to do with you having faith and trusting what is happening in your life, and actually having the courage to say and stand up to this fighting. This is having the courage to stop the fighting. This is having the courage to give up your game, because what you're doing is playing a game. You're playing really, really small with yourself and trying to deny what is true for you because it makes other people comfortable, or it even makes you comfortable because you get to play small and you get to think, oh, nothing is happening in my life. But you know deep down inside of you that you're delusional. Why? Because you're still holding on to the dream, and with good reason. It's a real thing. I feel like Source and Consciousness came out personally to say, this is a real thing, and the only thing that's happening here is you're fighting it. Because the current level of separation that you're in, you being separate from this dream causes separation. It causes not even separation anxiety, but it causes like a very deep dive into lack consciousness that feels overwhelming. And when you get to this space, it's like all your courage is just eaten by all these fears and uncertainties. Ooh, uncertainty. That is the word. your fear, you're fighting with the uncertainty of this alchemy and this journey and what is happening in your own life. But I assure you, group 4, that whatever is happening, you're in the right place. You're where you're exactly where you need to be, and you're learning, because this is for mastery. And I know this is for mastery because this is a reading about the emperor. This is a reading about the emperor, so this is about mastery. So really, you want so badly to have control over this dream. You want so badly to have control over when it does happen, when it doesn't happen. You want to have so much control over your life. But what consciousness is saying is trust the stream. And it takes a lot of courage to trust something that you don't like. You fear is not happening. So this is about courage. This is about trust. And I love how the rebel is here, with the emperor being the rebel. I feel like this is you rebelling to a level of existing, to a level that tells you that you have to do it this and this and that way, which is very resonant with group 3. A level of society that says it has to look this way, it has to be that way, it has to be this thing, it has to be this thing, or else it's not the real thing. And you're rebelling against that idea in itself, and you're offering a new level of being to it. Like, you can be this way, actually. You don't have to be that way. You're choosing to be that way because we're choosing that collectively. But no, it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm going to show you why and how it can be different. And this is what you're transforming in your being, and you're transforming as a being so that you can embody this fully and model it and show it to others. Because just like all the other pals, but especially it came through in group 3, you have a solution. You have just a creative essence about you. You have this level of creativity. We are able to pull from the ethers, from the abyss, and not only just from what you've seen from other people or seen from other things, but you're able to pull out of a place of deep wisdom, of ancient wisdom, something that lives in your DNA that you experienced in other lifetimes, like literally other galaxies. And I know when I say stuff like that, it's like a little like, ooh, but it's true. You have source out here with source energy, with transformation, consciousness, courage. And the only thing that gets in the way is this fighting and this constant sorrow, and thinking that just because the dream hasn't manifested itself fully, that it's not happening. So you're going through all this kicking and screaming. Like a baby, like being separated from the teat, and like, oh no, no, I want more. I don't want to learn how to drink from a sippy cup. I want this, like. I don't want to do it. I don't want to actually take responsibility for this. I don't want to actually, take responsibility for this dream. I want this to be all on spirit or the universe. I don't want to take responsibility for this dream, but it's happening. And that's why you have fear, like you're corked on both sides. You have fear on both sides because it's happening whether you like it or whether your human likes it or not. And you do know that you will have to take responsibility for what this is and how it unfolds, and not necessarily how it unfolds as in I have to take responsibility because this and this and this happened, but you have to take responsibility for the role or the truth that plays out of you through this journey. And that's why you're saying in the past, maybe I didn't have to say those things. Maybe I didn't have to do those things. Maybe those things didn't matter as much as I thought they would, because you have to take responsibility for the way in which you've portrayed, or the role that you've played in this journey so far. And you don't want to take responsibility for that. But it's funny because truly, one different decision could have changed this entirely. So that's why I stress that you're exactly where you need to be. So again, I want to reiterate that reclaiming your personal power is just having the courage, holding the courage and faith, and knowing that your life is actually transforming. It's not something that is going to happen. It's not something that has already happened. It's something that you're currently in the process of, that you're processing. And you're doing this in a very, very big way. And your human portion of you is fighting with this because it sees no end in sight, which it doesn't need to. And also, it transforms you into a higher level of being, an awakening, which you feel like will separate you from the rest of the pack, which that's exactly what it's doing. Your fear is true. It is separating you from the pack. Not necessarily separating, as in removing from, but it's putting you into proper positioning so that you can teach, so that you can lead, so that you can actually fulfill the purpose in this life that you were actually brought here to do. Because you were not brought here to just wallow and steep in mass consciousness. It's not you. And there's nothing wrong with the people who were designed to do that. They're playing their role just like you are. But you think that you were given the role of the sheep and that you were wrongfully given this role of the wolf, and you were not. You are not wrongfully given this role. Everything that is happening is for you to like break out of these old chains and this old conditioning. You thought you were given the role of the sheep. You were given the role of the wolf. And that wolf is starting to awaken. It's awakening and it's hungry for this dream. And it's time for you to stop controlling too what that dream is or what it looks like or what it should be. You know what the dream is for you. You know what the truth of that dream is. You know what it is in essence. You know what it is in essence. But a part of you is like, oh no, maybe I don't want that. Maybe that's me just being too entitled and too greedy and too this and too materialistic and too this and too that. It's like, no, you know what this dream is because you want everyone to have everything that they need. And you're not being too greedy, and you're not asking for too much, and you're not being unrealistic. And that's what this journey is preparing for your being. So that you can show others that they're not being unrealistic when it comes to them receiving what they need. And when it comes to life not being this ongoing tragedy and constantly being hard and constant shifting and change in a way that is detrimental to people who are disenfranchised in our society. You hold a beautiful, beautiful dream and a beautiful, beautiful essence. And it's time that comes true. So really the only thing that you're fighting with is you. The only thing or being you're fighting with when it comes to this journey is you. And that's where you have to release the control and surrender. Really, this reading is asking for full surrender of you. Fully surrender you. Fully surrender you. And my guys are saying that in circles. Fully surrender you. Surrender who you are. Surrender it all. Surrender your dream. Surrender it. Because you know what's true. Surrender it. Surrender what's true. Surrender what's right. Surrender what's wrong. Surrender everything. Fully. But your fear is if you surrender that, then who are you? But truly, if you surrender that, you'll know who it is you've been being transformed and prepared to be in this life. You'll know the truth of you and who you truly are, who you've been becoming. So surrender you. And that's where the control is coming in, is you are not ready to surrender you. You're too afraid to surrender you. You're too afraid to surrender. You want all the control. You want to control every aspect of everything because you want to feel safe and you want to feel protected and you want to feel this and you want to feel that. But I really feel like you're going to feel the most safe and the most protected if you just surrender your being to this dream, to this higher level of you, to source, to consciousness. If you just surrender it, surrender to this transformation and the person that you're becoming. And I feel like life, you will tap into a higher level of ease. Honestly. That's what it is. Very, very beautiful energy. So, let's get into your oracle cards and see what messages they're bringing to this reading. So we're going to first tap into your chakra wisdom cards and see what they're saying. These chakras are basically going to represent the chakras that are being worked on, healed throughout this process. So let's see what we have. Yep, we have the crown chakra, makes total sense with spiritual awareness. When my mind sways negatively, I remind myself of love, truth, gratitude, and spirit. I am the observer of my thoughts, and I do not let them bring me down. I remind myself to have gratitude and acceptance for what is, and to have the courage of my convictions. I continually pursue a clearer understanding of spiritual truths behind all that is and all that is unfolding. I ask myself, is what I'm thinking the truth, and is it having a positive or negative impact on my life? Yep. And then we have, the sixth chakra, third eye chakra with intuitive perception. Makes total sense with the energy that we're picking up on. I know that what my intuitive senses tell me are true. I open myself to the truth that is within and around me, and I know that it is there for me to receive. I practice developing my intuition, and I know that it is a major aspect of who I am. In the stillness and silence of meditation and contemplation, I will experience and know the truth. Exactly. The only thing you're fighting with is your own self. Makes total sense to have your 7th and your 6th chakra being worked on right now. So this card is going to act as your gateway card. So a lot of times what we look at as blockages are actually our gateways. So this is what you're currently going through, or the current door which you're stepping through when it comes to this transformation energy and actually actualizing your dream, actually trusting and knowing that you can, and it's safe for you to surrender to this spiritual path. So you have you have the angel of love in reverse, and I feel like the only reason it's in reverse is because you're resisting. You're resisting love. And love is the choice that you're being asked to make. Love is what you're resisting. And I don't mean love in like this weird romantic way or any weird way, but start with you. But it honestly feels like love is what you're resisting. Love is what you're resisting. And that is what you think is your blockage and what is getting in your way. And it is. Because really it's this resistance to love is what's transforming your being. Your resistance to intimacy and connection and love, and actually what love means. This one vibration, this energy of everything is exactly what it needs to be, and it's flowing in love. You're resisting that because it's just hard for you to see with everything that you've been through and everything that you've done and everything that you've experienced, and the fact that you feel so separate from this dream. I love how comparison is right below that. Yep. Love, group 4. So let's see. The Work Your Life card is going to help us really embody this energy oracle card. Like what is our advice with moving through this resistance of love? What is that? Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seed in the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Yep. This is it. This is understanding that this is divine planning. This is all part of the process. So this is you too, like going inside of your body and forgiving and showing yourself compassion, showing other people compassion and forgiveness, but also, getting to a space to where you can safely love yourself and love other people at the same exact time. So this is stop being either or. This is not giving yourself an ultimatum or other people an ultimatum. But this is you learning how to exist in love at all times, which means, and that doesn't mean necessarily joy and happiness and blah, blah, blah. Because you even learn how to exist in joy with fear, exist in joy with sadness, and exist in joy with grief. You're learning how to exist in love at all times. This is beautiful, beautiful energy. So let's help better digest this in guidance. What guidance do we have to help better digest even this advice that we have? We have the Knight of Wands, defend yourself, have self-integrity. So I honestly feel like when it comes to resisting love, what this is saying is when you go inside your mind and your mind is talking bad about you, or other people are projecting and doing different things on the outside, when it comes to your external world, you get to choose how you navigate that. But know that when you stand up for yourself, you're doing that out of love. You know, when you stand up for yourself on the inside and with those voices that tell you negative things, you are standing up for yourself. Those negative voices are not your intuition. They're not your intuitive perception. Your intuition is not going to tell you anything like that. Is this part of your journey? Yes. But do you constantly have to be consumed by negative thoughts that try to convince you that you're unworthy and you're undeserving of a life that you want to live? No. So this is you learning how to embody fully the essence of love. And you start that by loving yourself. And it's so funny how it all happens. This is one of those situations where you're going to go on this long journey and go turn this way and that way, and you're going to get turned right back to the answer you knew was the answer all along, which was love and loving yourself and loving other people and other things and giving of yourself freely because you know how much you love yourself and nothing can take that away from you. So it's very, very beautiful. And our White Light Oracle card is basically going to represent how this essence of love, this embodiment of love is going to take a physical, how it's going to manifest itself in your awareness physically. So let's see what card that is. We have, Bath Cole. You want to know what's crazy? For some reason, throughout this entire reading, I just kept hearing the name Beth Cole, Beth Cole. Even when I picked up the deck, it was Beth Cole, Beth Cole, Beth Cole. So that's very interesting that we're going to end this entire reading with her energy. So this is just... this is unity consciousness. This is creating. This is knowing who you are. This is knowing your value, knowing your worth is infinite. And this is knowing that that's the same for everybody else. But this is also not compromising who you are because of everybody else. This is trusting your own dream and what's manifesting for you. This doesn't have a lot to do. It seems like you try to bring everybody else into it so that you feel less responsible. But that's just not what this energy is asking you to do. So let me actually go into the book and read a portion of this energy for you. Eschew complicated explanations as you seek. Eschew complicated explanations as you seek the simplicity of the deepest truth of your heart. Gently but firmly cast aside that which does not resonate as being true for your heart. Focus upon and speak from a higher spiritual perspective. All prayers are answered at the perfect time and in the perfect way. You have a powerful voice which can foster healing and wisdom on our planet. Bath Cole is a mysterious creature. She is an angel known as the Divine Oracle, the daughter of the Divine Voice, the pure and true sound of spirit. When she whispers to your heart, you feel it is an inner knowing, a truth. To honor that inner knowing likely requires a confrontation of fear or moving in an unexpected directions. Even so, the deep resonance of her truth is more powerful than the resistance we may initially feel as we let go of our limited perspectives and allow ourselves to be guided by spirit. Boom. That's it. That's it, group 4. That surrender. This is full embodiment, full surrender to the truth of you, to the truth of what you know, to the truth of your inner knowing. And not what you're being. If it's negative, listen. When my mind sways negatively, I remind myself of love, truth, gratitude, and spirit. I ask myself, is what I'm thinking the truth? And is it having a positive or negative impact on my life? Negativity, as in downgrading yourself and belittling yourself is not the truth, and you know that. You know it. You know that it's true. You know the beauty that can come of this life and of this planet and of this world. This is a huge confirmation for you, Group 4. Keep moving forward and keep trusting you. Allow this transformation to come through, because it is coming through with just the best for you and for everybody, really. So I truly, truly hope you honor this. I truly, truly do. All right, so let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Group 4, for coming out and hanging out with me today during this reading. I really, really hope it resonated. And if it didn't, that is okay. Take what did, and the rest will absolutely fall away. You're not obligated to hold on to anything that is not yours. So I want to thank you again for checking out this reading. I hope you enjoyed the reading, my energy, my vibe, and my dear soul kin. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.